didn't know anyone was ever gonna hear it. So I just kind of was sitting in my room. It was during quarantine and towards the very beginning, and I just had set up my little home situation, and a friend of Matt Bennett's, Shintaro, had sent me a little folder of beats, and he's amazing, by the way. He worked at the Apple Store, at the Genius Bar, I think, or I think he was giving lessons on how to work, like make beats and stuff.
Cool.
Like I think he was the guy that like you go into the Apple Store and be like, oh, I want to make something that sounds like Robin Thicke, and then he'd like show you how to make something that sounds like that. And but yeah, he's a really brilliant producer, and he sent me a pack of beats, and I pulled it up and I wrote a verse and a chorus, and I sent it over to Abel, and I said, is this okay? And he was like, yeah, I'm gonna write the second verse. And I was like, okay. And so that was just how it felt, and it was just a very intimate moment and writing process between two friends.
Does a song like that only happen after being alone with yourself for quite some time? Because it is it's very reflective. No, like if you weren't going through it in that moment, you're thinking back. Or
I think there's always a feeling at the beginning of creating something where you're like, is this for me or is this for people? And this was one that I think was kind of on the line. I didn't know, but then it felt really beautiful, and my mom's reaction to it was really beautiful. That made me very emotional, and I felt like it was the perfect kind of centerpiece in a way to the album, because it does, again, make every other song on the album make so much more sense. It's like, okay, we start here and we start with a crush, and you start with the fun sex and the, ooh, what's your motive? What's your, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then it gets to this real point where you're like, oh, wow, I could be falling in love with someone. Is that even an option for me?
You?
Yeah. And then you go into, I think 6:30 is next, and you're like, well, are you down? What if I lose my, what if I'm old and crazy? And then you go into Safety Net, and you're like, oh, here we go. I'm really here, falling for real. This is happening again. I didn't think it could, and it is. And then, and then it's like, I think it's a pivotal point on it. I think, I don't know.
No, it is a huge moment in the overall story that you're telling. Do you know what that story is? And do you realize that story only after the album's done?
Oh, no. I mean, of course it's nice to see it come together and make sense for strangers or for other people listening, or for people who aren't living through these experiences. But to me, it's clear because I'm making songs that are coming from a real place. And, I'll be like, it's like, that's the process. I wouldn't, it's like, I could sit here and you could give me a word and I can try to make a song about a word, but it's not going to be as good as if I sit here and I make a song about some real thought that I had,
Wow. The strings on this record, it hit me, and I think Off the Table and Myron are actually connected in some weird way. Did you hear the song?
Myron was sitting underneath my feet when I wrote that. So yeah, he doesn't leave me alone much, but I think he loves that song. I think he also loves chewing my headphones and sitting right next to me as I'm working. And yeah, he's a little angel. He doesn't leave me alone much. I'll go to like brush my teeth first thing in the morning, and he'll come with me and sit under the sink and like look up at me. It's very sweet.
Oh, and
a little angel.
I love the dogs at the end of the music video, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
But not all of them, like not even half of.
I know. I wanted it to be realistic, but not like me slipping in the snow. You know what I mean? Because there was fake snow on set, and I was like, I'm going to die if Lafayette is added to this, and like Cinnamon is here, and there's like all these dogs. So we did a little group. Yeah. Lafayette has to be in the next one. She has to be in some video at some point.
Do you have 8?
I lost count a long time ago.
Okay, got it.
Is Off the Table, would you say that's one of the most personal songs you've ever written?
It's hard to top Thank You Next because it's so much more straightforward. But I think it's different because I'm kind of the only one in there. It's just me and Abel who wrote it, so maybe. But I don't think so. I don't know. They all have so much of me in them that I don't know. I don't really like to be like, is this the one that means this? And I don't know. I think they all kind of fit in a puzzle somehow.
How do you know it was time to share this story, though? Because something has to happen.
Actually, Dan, I do have an answer for that. I think 34, 35. I'm joking. I'm kidding.
Well,
6:30.
the reason I'm asking that is just like everybody knows like what you said, you've been through a lot in your life, and this one you're kind of putting it all out there for people to kind of hear your story firsthand.
Am I? Now I'm scared.
I think it's a good thing.
Oh,
Don't worry. Do you have a question, or are you just gonna say shit, Daniel?
yeah. Do you have a question, or are you just gonna instill fear in me and trigger my anxiety while we
But
sit here?
isn't that what you want? Is tell your story?
No, I don't fucking know, dude. I just want to sing and make people happy and say songs, and I don't know.
All right. Well, forget I said that.
I don't think about that. If I wanted to share my story, I'd do more of this, but I only talk to you two.
All right. Well, forget. Scrap that.
I'm joking. It's
No, and I want everybody, and everybody should know that, you know.
yeah, but it's also like yes, in a way, yes, because it's like I do want some control over what the narrative is, but at the same time, you know very well that I don't like to spend too much time thinking about that because it's scary.
What does 6:30 mean?
6:30 is like 6:30 on the clock. Down. Are you down?
Oh,
They're like down.
the position of the clock points down.
Yeah.
I was literally like, does the sun set at 6? Does the sun set at 6:30?
No, both the arms are facing down. I'm really happy this album has thrown you for a loop, Zach, saying your brain is burning over there.
That makes a
I'm
lot.
so glad. That this profound body of work could really make you short circuit. Like,
Dude, it's made me think, and I really truly have spent a lot of time with it, so I am dissecting all of it. You do need somebody to play video games with you at 2 a.m. Do you have that right now?
yeah, hell yeah.
Oh, congrats. That's a big
Yeah.
deal.
But we're asleep by 11:01 or by like 10:01. We're old. I'm old. I'm an old person.
Back in the day, Ariana would be up at probably like 1 o'clock playing video games. No more.
I can't do it anymore. I'm
Really?
tired. Oh yeah, I'm exhausted. Also, I think the amount that I have worked on this year that was supposed to be my off year is like crazy. I've like never been more nonstop in my entire life, and it's like kooky. I think because like once I made the decision that I wanted to put something out, I was like, okay, now I need to shoot 76 videos, do 76 photo shoots in the middle of a pandemic. I need to get everyone tested 300 times a week. I need to put together these mixes, approve all these masters, and I have notes on everything. I'm not happy with anything. I need to make sure everything is perfect. I need to da, 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 da. And I think I just kind of like drove myself a little crazy for a while. So I think I was like, by the time we were both home from work and done, I was just kind of like, we both were like, okay, good night. We were both like, okay, we're in bed by 7, watching Netflix until 10 and then sleeping, you know, like old people routine. This is all that happens.
Do you realize that you want to put out an album only after the songs are done, or do you go, I'm going to put out an album and then start creating?
No, I see a list of like things that I know I would want to be on an album. Even if they're unfinished, I know that there are titles like of things that exist in my head. And once I see like 10, I'm like, should I start paying attention to this? Do they go together? Is it cohesive? Does it make sense? And then I'm like, oh wow, we're onto something. And then like, it's just, it happens. You don't realize, you know, like I'll just look at Tommy. We got a little whiteboard in the studio and we write on it and keep lists of like what we really love and make like a little to-do list of what's left to finish on them. But once we're in the double digits, I kind of look at Tommy and I'm like, are we here again? And that's always a very exciting moment. And yeah, that's kind of when you realize
that you have something, but only when it presents itself. Like you don't set out with a goal, you set out to create, and then eventually
yeah.
Skirt is a language unique to you. There's a lot of
I don't think so. I don't think that is true.
No?
I would say that that's not true. Skirt.
Dan is laughing at me. Am I not cool enough to know who else uses skirt?
I feel like that's a commonly used thing in rap songs, and it's an ad lib for some rappers as well. You know, they're like skirt. You know.
No.
I think it's around, Zach.
Okay,
I think we don't coin that one as an Ariana Grande phrase at all. I think we back out of there quick.
What do you coin?
I like the nods to the other albums lyrically that are kind of like they're kind of trickled throughout the album. I purposely kind of try to tie in certain phrases that reflect and tie in other records to make sure that there is a through line. And that I did it with Sweetener and Thank You Next as well, just to like kind of like wink at the other songs and continue the story and kind of like show the evolution of how situations have evolved and how certain feelings have evolved and changed. So I did a lot of that this time. There's a lot of them. Some of them are more obvious than others, but yeah, one of my favorite ones is in Safety Net, and there's a real taste more, is it in my head? I like the in my head reference. I like little things like that.